thank you, Siobhan, for that lovely welcome, and thank you to the Duleek Hunger Strike Committee for inviting me to speak in this garden. This isn't the first time I've spoke here, and I'm always very honoured to speak at this beautiful garden. I don't think anybody can deny the work and the effort that this committee put into making this commemoration and other events throughout the year happen every year. So I suppose I'd like to start by really just asking a question, and that is, who here among us would have had the courage of the men and the women of Easter week 1916? I like to think that we all believe that we would have been standing shoulder to shoulder with the Patriots, and I have no doubt that very many of us would have. The legacy of 1916 resonates to this day with Irish Republicans, not only because it produced the foundation document which proclaimed our republic, to which we all give our allegiance, but because the rising itself was as an audacious and enduring act of rebellion that the world has ever seen. We all take great pride in the martyrs of 1916 as we continue to uphold their legacy with our enduring efforts to finish the job and secure Irish independence once and for all. The Republic of 16 may not be established in practice, but it does persist. For those of us who would call ourselves traditional Republicans, the Republic of 1916 is the only legitimate governmental authority that we politically recognise. All other claimants of authority in this country are usurpers and enemies of the Republic. It may seem an academic point to make, but it is one that we must reiterate at every opportunity, and no better time than Easter. There are many people gathered at gravesides and monuments throughout the country this weekend, and at every event the 1916 proclamation will be read. But what will follow will be a complete denial of the Republic. Hypocritical alternatives to the Republic will be put forward. Downright rejections of the Republic will be proposed. But not here in Duleek. In Duleek we stand united to confirm once more that we stand for the Republic and the Republic only. There are no alternatives and there will be no compromises. The big matters of today are still connected with national sovereignty. It's not some outdated notion or something to talk about in a bygone era. The denial of national sovereignty is what continues to fuel wars. Look at the Palestine, for example. The ongoing genocide against the Palestinian people is driven solely by Zionist ambitions. Yet, there are those, even among our own ranks, who would try to persuade us that the ongoing rejection of British rule is futile and that we should settle ourselves into a peaceful subservience, albeit with a veneer of opposition. For centuries, they have tried to defeat Republican people and they have failed. They have jailed, maimed and killed us and they have not succeeded. Yet, they have hit on a winning formula, or at least they think they have. Pearse famously said at O'Donovan Ross's funeral, "The defenders of this realm have worked well in secret and in the open. They think they have pacified Ireland. They think they have purchased half of us and intimidated the other half." And this is still an ongoing formula. Where they cannot intimidate us into submission, they try to buy us, or at least buy influence. And today, that's a major problem. It may be an uncomfortable reality to talk about here, but there are those fellow travellers we have all encountered who, maybe even unbeknownst to themselves, are willing and attempting to dilute the Republican position and activities because they are funded to do it. Funding of political groupings under various guises is a growing problem in republicanism. It may seem very benign to people, but nothing could be more dangerous. In fact, the funding is the best weapon that the Brits and their allies have at their disposal today. Many may not be aware that when you're engaging with these activists, that they may have ulterior motives of why they're saying and doing things. While these people ostensibly work alongside us, they ask us to attend meetings and seminars. They present themselves to us as anti-Good Friday Agreement Republicans, but all the while they are reporting back to the NGOs and charity foundations on the work with radical Republicans. We've all seen it in recent years, everyone here has. Community activists instructing young people to go home when they're trying to politically organise in an attempt to control them. Others operating as innocent talking shops and forums, asking us to attend, where they can then try and dissuade us from revolutionary Republican activity. But don't take my word for it. Every single action that these people take is documented and reported. It's reported back in annual reports to funders, and it's publicly available for anybody that wants to look at it. And some of these people are funded to over £100,000 a year. That's sterling. One such group, for example, who is in receipt of massive funding over 100 grand, they say this in their funding application, that their organisation places a particular emphasis on engaging with disaffected and marginalised people who are vulnerable to recruitment by those opposed to the peace process. Others openly admit that they're promoting a border poll, and that the border poll pitch to Republicans is precisely what is sealing the deal for them to receive funding. If evidence was ever needed that a border poll is out for Republicans, surely it is the funding of its promotion by British allied parties. They would have Republican position weakened down to selling ourselves to the highest bidder for funding, with a vague aspiration for a Union of Ireland. They have been recruited into the state bureaucracy, enforcing the exact same political position as those who fund them. We must be wise enough to see through these useful fools. And indeed they are fools if they think they're pulling one over on the Brits with talk of loopholes, or they're being smart. It was recently remarked to me that far from wolves in sheep's clothing, these people are sheep in wolves' clothing. And funding, and I know I don't want to belabour the point, but funding within Republican communities and enticing Republicans to police their own communities, it's a counter-insurgency tactic that was adopted by the Brits, and this is documented going back at least to the 1970s. Funding and policing of communities go hand in hand, and the promise of money diverts. It focuses people's attention away from the Republic, and focuses it on who's going to get the biggest share of the pot, pitting themselves against other groups in for the same funding. And this is a prime example of British divide, but more importantly, British rule. But thankfully, Republicans continue to advance in the face of such reformism. We can be grateful that a new generation experience has not been tainted by sellouts and revisionism. The Republican youth will be guided, of course, by older Republicans, but they have the confidence to forge ahead, and a new generation of Irish people will emerge to continue the job, and they need no endorsement or seal of approval. They will not be patronised into submission and compliance with festivals and other such things. They see only too well that Ireland is still under British occupation, that occupation continues to be an injustice and an ancient wrong that must be righted. And the men and women currently in Maghaberry, Hydebank, Portlaoise, they also know this. And we take this opportunity to send our greetings to the prisoners and to commit in our support to them. So too do we take this opportunity to send our solidarity to the people of Palestine, who are suffering the most unspeakable and unimaginable terrors at the hands of Zionist terrorists on a daily basis. We pledge to commit our support on the ground in Ireland. Importantly, the work of the Republic must continue. It is our job to hold the line and not be redirected towards reformist positions. Republicans never set out for half measures or a 32-county free state. Doing the right thing, it's not always the trendy position, and it's certainly not the easy one. If there's one message for us to take away here today, it is that the Republic must prevail. We must renew our calls for a British declaration of intent to withdraw from our country and reject all attempts to subvert us. And in closing, I want to revisit Pearse's remarks at O'Donovan Ross's funeral, where he said, they think that they have foreseen everything. They think that they have provided against everything. But the fools, they have left us our Fenian dead. And while Ireland holds these graves, Ireland unfree shall never be at peace. Onwards to the Republic. Thanks, Kate.
Finally, I would like to thank everyone for coming tonight, those who have travelled from near and far. I would like to thank Anthony Walsh, Damien McAleer and Alan Finnegan for their generous donations towards the refurbishment of the monument gates, and all those who supported our raffles for the same. We have some Republican craft in the back of the van at the gate. If anyone would like to buy any, proceeds will go towards the upkeep of the monument. All those that participated in this evening's commemoration, and to Kate Traynor, who travelled the long journey from Armagh to deliver tonight's speech. We'll now have the national anthem.